Bhagavatam speaker is if you are given a time limit, half an hour you have to finish. Or Pujari is very strong. I don't have really a right over him. He'll look at me. 8:15 before that, if it is not closed, it's very difficult. In fact, the um, digital marketing guy that we have employed, he wanted us to do short videos in 1 minute. Importance of Janmashtami, significance of Janmashtami, and he wants it fully. Like we had just one video and he wanted more. And he says we have to go deeper, but it has to be within 60 seconds. So I said for me to warm up, it takes half an hour. You want me to do in 1 minute, it's like impossible. And it's already 8 minutes over. So there is always a pressure to communicate something which is very profound, which our Vedic literatures are full of in a very short, succinct way. It's not easy. But let's see what we can do. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So today, before we begin, I thought of where is the verse? Interesting. Before we begin, I thought let's chant with one verse. Some technical difficulty, but let's see. Can you see my screen? Lokanscha lokanugatan pasumscha Hitva shvitaste charnatapatram Parasparam tvad gunavada siddhu Piyusa niryapita deha dharma Lokamscha lokanugatan pasumscha Hitva shritaste charnatapatram Parasparam tvad gunavada siddhu Piyusa niryapita deha dharma Lokamscha lokanugatan pasumscha Hitva shritaste charnatapatram Parasparam tvad gunavada siddhu Piyusa niryapita deha dharma. So it's a beautiful verse in Bhagavatam which talks about our present situation and tells us a solution in a very succinct way. Lokamscha lokanu gatan pasumscha. So in this material world, everybody is following somebody else or other. We see that somebody is playing cricket somewhere and there is a local team which is being formed, and that seems to be good for me. So since somebody else is doing who's been benefiting as per my understanding and perception, I think I should also join that. Or somebody is pursuing a career in some medical field, IT field. Many a times we don't even question such things, but he or she becomes a role model and we want to follow. Lokamscha lokanu gatan pasumscha. But there is a pasu inside us which always wants to be the number one. There is a devotee who comes to our temple very regularly. He or she complained one day that the place where I sit and chant is being taken by somebody else. Problem is not how can I improve my chanting. Problem is that the place where I am sitting, somebody else is sitting in that place. Can you please tell him or her not to sit in that place? Lokamscha lokanu gatan pasumscha. So material world, the resources are anyway, there is a scarcity and everybody wants to be the best, and they are following someone and they want to supersede that, they want to excel. So there is fight like pasums. Prabhupada says in the purport, it's like the dogs fighting for some bones. They just go really beastly, that is what it is. Lokamscha lokanu gatan pasumscha. So what is the solution? Bhagavatam doesn't leave one with the problem just to meditate upon or contemplate upon. It gives solution. Hitva sritaste charanata patram. If somehow or other these people who are busy fighting amongst each other, especially in this Kali Yuga, for small trivial things, understand the importance of taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. Hitva shritaste charanata patram. Atapatram is an umbrella. Hitva shritaste charanata patram. Charana is the lotus feet of Krishna, which is like an umbrella, which can protect one from all the miseries. Hitva shritaste charanata patram. So one may question, what do you mean by taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna? Is it like I have to catch the lotus feet of Krishna, hold on to it? Or where do I find an umbrella which probably has an imprint of the lotus feet of Krishna and carry that all the way, everywhere I'm going? Now the third line it explains. Paras param tvad gunavada siddhu. To take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna is possible when we are discussing parasparam tvad guna vada siddhu, the qualities, the activities, the pastime of the Lord. Siddhu is intoxicating nectar of Krishna. Parasparam tvad guna vada siddhu is a wonderful opportunity. A festival is nothing but an opportunity to come together and glorify the Lord, hear His activities and pastimes, and develop our strong faith in the process that we are following. Parasparam tvad gunavada siddhu piyusa niryapita deha dharma. So siddhu piyusa is intoxicating nectar. Niryapita deha dharma. The material necessities of the body will be completely vanished. Niryapita deha dharma. Because this deha dharma is the trigger or is the instigating factor for people to do activities, and they are acting like pasums. Lokamscha lokanu gatan pasumscha hitva sritaste charanata patram parasparam tvad gunavada siddhu piyusa niryapita deha dharma. The translation is very beautiful. I don't know if I can put it here. However, persons who have given up stereotyped worldly affairs and the beastly followers of these affairs, and who have taken shelter of the umbrella of your lotus feet by drinking the intoxicating nectar of your qualities and activities in discussions with one another, can be freed from the primary necessities of the material body. It's a very beautiful verse to meditate. So what is the problem statement? The problem statement is we are following somebody But there is a beast which is there inside each one of us, which wants to excel, which wants to supersede, which wants to become the numero uno. And in the process, we don't mind, violating all ethical, moral principles. But the solution is, and we go through a lot of anxieties and miseries, to take shelter of the umbrella of the lotus feet. And how do we do that? By drinking the intoxicating nectar of your qualities and activities in discussions with one another. And if we do that, what happens? Niryapita deha dharma. Then we will be freed from the primary necessities of the material body. Very powerful verse, isn't it? So we should be thankful to Prabhupada and the deities that we get a chance in the name of some festival to come together and engage in Harikatha. Very powerful. Otherwise, material world is so designed, so orchestrated. Everybody is busy. You might be thinking in your life you are busy, you've got a lot of things, material activities. Everybody is busy. The material energy is so designed, it keeps one busy. And interestingly, I was forwarded one article yesterday about one athlete who got Padma Shri after 50 years of retirement from his active sport. He is from Maharashtra. Any other Marathi person here? His name is Murli Petkar. Murli Rajaram Petkar. So he joined the army, and then he was a wrestler by profession, and then he joined the Indian Army, and then he became a boxer, and he was fighting. He wanted, his only dream was to enter into Olympics and to win the gold medal. So he was a good boxer, and he was boxing very nicely, but then one mistake he did in Tokyo International Games, because of which he was out, and he didn't win the gold. He won the silver medal, and then he was deputed. He was posted in the war front in Kashmir, and he was shot by 9 bullets, yet he survived. And he was paralyzed from his waist below. He was on wheelchair. But that person was so determined that I should win a gold medal. He heard from somewhere that there is something called Paralympics. And in Paralympics, people who are physically handicapped can also participate. And he heard from his doctor and nurse that for him, in his particular condition, it is good to swim. So he started swimming. So imagine, he was a wrestler, he became a boxer, and then after being physically handicapped from his waist below, he started learning swimming, and he won gold medal in 1976 or 72, Munich Olympics, gold medal. Nobody knew about him. And there was an article published by one journalist, and that brought limelight to that person, and he got Padma Shri by our COVID, what is this, President Gautam. No, not the present one, previous one. Ramnath Gautam. So, point is, the determination, this is a story of rags to riches. We can feel inspired that despite so many odds, it's not easy to win a gold medal in Olympics. Many people even don't know. I mean, I'm sure, I don't know how many of you knew about this. He never gave up. There were temptations which come because of our own mind, and there are distractions which come from the outside world. Taking up to this process of Krishna consciousness is not any different. Our goal is very lofty, but there is mental laziness, there are mental doubts, and there is outside the external distractions and the allurements. Both take us away. And it is very easy to say, I could not do for so many reasons. My mind was, I was not in a good mood. I had some issues. My family was creating trouble. My office was having a lot of issues. Or, there were some temptations. I was very serious. I wanted to practice this in my life. But then I got distracted because of, so many things in the outside material world. Very easy to say or, become like that. But to achieve that highest success, like to achieve that gold medal in Olympics, it's not easy. That requires that determination to persevere, despite all odds, despite all the temptations. So we are at 7:52, and I have not even begun. So what I want to share today is something which is very important for all of us as sadhakas, as practitioners of Krishna consciousness, to have complete conviction, full conviction on this. And what is that? Often people take up to Krishna consciousness for various reasons. Somebody wants to come and network with people. बच्चे का शादी होने वाला है अभी, maybe devotee family से मिल जाए तो अच्छा है यहाँ पे. Or somebody is looking for some job. यहाँ पे बहुत तरीके के लोग आते हैं. So if I find someone I can approach, थोड़ा CV भी दे दो. Many ulterior motives with which people come. They really don't know what they are asking for to Krishna or what to ask for. They think I am asking for something which is good for me. But what is that really good thing? These things easily Krishna will give. We don't need to ask for this. But we deliberately, consciously, very consciously, we put efforts to achieve these things. We forget what is the real goal of life. So that is why often when people take up to Krishna consciousness, their faith is very komala, very tender, very delicate. And they don't know, and there are often people who complain that, oh, you're following a cult now. As Krishna conscious people, every time you see, they're only chanting. What they're chanting? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Often we go to some house programs and people come to temple. And most people, when we chant this mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Most people join. But there will be some, and that some is not a minority, it's quite a large. Then you tell them, no, you chant, it's good for you. If you chant, the other person is not going to die, nothing is going to happen. No earth is going to shatter. Still, and why? Why they are not able to take up? Why this process which is so simple, which is given by the acharyas, by the Vedic literatures, why we are not able to take it with conviction? Why do we lack it? The reason being, we don't have this understanding that Krishna consciousness is a science. It's a science. It has nothing to do with my faith, it has nothing to do with my understanding, belief, what I think, what I know. Maybe, yesterday I was going to Groton Sai temple, quite far, or some other temple where parking was an issue. And now that I found one beautiful pink color building, Radha Krishna temple has come, it's good. Another thing. Krishna consciousness is a science. And let's see that in 15-20 minutes, how it is a science. Before we say how Krishna consciousness is science, since we are comparing one to another, it is good to know what we are comparing with, and what is the definition of that. So we are saying Krishna consciousness is a science. So what is the definition of science? As per Collins dictionary, the definition of science is, it's the study of nature and behavior of natural things and the knowledge we obtain about them. Very simple. Science is the study of nature and behavior of natural things and the knowledge we obtain about them. Very next question, because all of you are very eager to participate in any questions which are asked and very enthusiastic. So I think I should ask, what do you think? What is the purpose of science? To learn. To learn what? Anybody who's not from science background here? 1, 2. Okay, 2. All of you are science students. Okay. So what is the purpose of science? You see how enthusiastic people are. To pursue knowledge. Who said? To pursue knowledge. Okay. And with the knowledge, what will you do?
The very essence of living, to learn the essence of.
To learn essence of
living.
To learn essence of living. I mean, Why science only then? You can learn the essence of living through anything, through arts.
To understand the life.
To understand life.
Life of any living being.
To understand life of any living being. Okay.
Understand
Don't think too complicated. I mean, simple. Why we study? Yeah.
To exploit the nature to maximize.
To exploit the nature to max. Yeah. Good. Very good. On the right track. Anybody else wants to add?
Just to improve our.
To improve our life, right? To mitigate the miseries, to increase the happiness, boils down to almost the same thing. That's what we want from science, right? If I have to put it in a nutshell, because I don't have a lot of time, otherwise I would have gathered the answers. To reduce suffering. We want, there is some problem that you are experiencing and you want to reduce the suffering. So science can help us with that. At least science promises that. Increase the comforts. We want to have nice, I have never in my life previously, I have never seen so many varieties of comforting things related to bed and sleeping before coming to America. Types of pillows, types of comforters, types of sheets, this thing, never heard of. And you get confused, my God, all these things are for sleeping. Reduce suffering, increase comforts, and to live happily ever after. Isn't it? Science always promises. No matter what disease you have, we will cure. We have a cure. We have a miracle cure for everything. And one day we will conquer over it. Reduce suffering, I don't know. Just thought of sharing. I've been going for some, regular medical visits for something. And then because of some deficiency, and they give some infusion. So you think if you have that deficiency, particular deficiency, and you have those infusion, it will help. You will feel automatically energetic and things will become all right. But to take that infusion, they will insert, like they'll have the syringe which has to be inserted. And when you go regularly, like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 times, then what happens is the veins are not visible. And the veins where they are inserting, or the syringe is being incision is happening, that either gets swollen, so they don't want to use that place, and the other place the veins are not visible. This is if you go for 5-6 times. Though there is a suffering which can be reduced, but there is also another problem which comes with the solution that science provides. Sometimes, we take some drugs. It is meant to cure us, but it will have a lot of side effects, because when the drug is taken inside, the liver or the kidney or the stomach which is trying to digest it can have some issues. It is meant to increase comforts, definitely, it does. It does increase the comforts, but to live happily ever after, not possible. Why it is not possible? You see, a few days back we all experienced the coronavirus, isn't it? Before that, if you talk to somebody who's from an first world country or an advanced country, there is some Ebola virus which is affecting. Where was Ebola virus affecting people? It was in somewhere in Africa. Yeah. Third world country, it happens. Yeah. People, we are busy. We are very advanced. Science is so advanced. Nothing will happen to us. When coronavirus came, did it distinguish the most powerful person in the world, probably the President of America, and a beggar on a street in India or somewhere in third world country? It didn't. Even the most powerful president also has to wear mask, has to take all precautions. Everybody was scared. So this idea that science promises that it will reduce suffering, it will increase the comforts, and we can live happily ever after, is not true 100%. But science promises, always. There is a story, I don't know how far it is true. Walt Disney, when he died, he said that you preserve my body. And when science will advance, when they will be able to bring back life to dead bodies, I'll be alive. So I will continue with my business. But so they preserved in some liquid nitrogen chamber or something. I'm not very sure, but something like that happened. But his relatives and his sons and successors, they apparently divided the properties among themselves. So then they were so scared. What if he is brought back to life and he gets to know that all the property has been divided? Somebody actually pulled that plug of that nitrogen chamber and he died. So then they later on disclosed to the world saying that there were some issues with the liquid nitrogen chamber and whatever happened, and his body could not be preserved. But science promises that somehow or other we can overcome death, we can overcome all diseases. There was a recent study which I was seeing of genome where they were saying that there is a particular gene inside our body which they have identified. By modifying that, we can reverse our old age. So you are 40s or in 50s or 60s, whatever it is, you can go back to 20, 30. Who doesn't want to? Isn't it? But still it's not a solution, because if somebody puts a nuclear bomb or something, the body is finished. You are in 20, but over. So actually the spiritual science also talks about the similar thing. They don't talk about anything different. The similar considerations even Arjuna had 5,000 years back. And what were those considerations which Arjuna had? Arjuna's considerations are very powerful. Actually, we read Bhagavad Gita, but we don't go deeper into the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita. Very profound, very, very profound. If you see the questions which Arjuna is asking, or what he has asked in Bhagavad Gita, the underlined basic principle in them is this two fundamental assumptions that Arjuna had. What is my duty and what is good for me? If you analyze all the activities that we do in our life, everything that we do, it boils down to these two things. What's my duty and what's good for me? We don't do it. There is no other third thing. Either we do out of duty or we do because it is good for me. Do you think there is anything third thing apart from this? I need some water. Sometimes left to right also you don't see. Yeah, any other third considerations which can be there for doing any activity? Do you disagree? Agree?
What is good for the country, what's good for family, everything is included in what's good for me.
Boils down to what's good for me, because either we do it, so it's my duty because it's my country, it's my community, I'm supposed to serve, or I do it because there is somehow inherently something good for me, it will come back to me. That's why we do it. You think something? Sorry?
I was going to say what's good for others.
What's good for others? Yeah, the same thing. So most of us who have come to here, the US, either we think that there are some dependents who are there back home in India and I should earn a lot of money and send back home, back to my country, or probably it's good for me because nice roads, clean pollution free environment and big houses, 2 garage, 3 garage, marble floor or whatever it is, so it's good for me. It boils down to that. What is my duty and what's good for me? But what is the problem with this? When these are the two considerations which each one of us have, any problem that you see in this? Me? Huh? It will keep changing?
Needs can conflict.
Huh?
Your needs can conflict with others.
Wow. Can we have a round of applause for that? Just hit the nail on the head. That's the point. Sometimes we often overthink. Actually, it's a fact. Sometimes my duty can conflict with somebody else. What is good for me may not be good for somebody else. For example, imagine if nobody falls sick. What the doctors will do? Any doctor here? The doctor wants people to fall sick. But I don't want to be subject to being sick to go to a doctor for his duty. His duty is to cure, but I don't want. Or lawyers. If nobody argues, there is no quarrel, there is nobody who's suing another person, lawyers will be out of business. Some lawyers. So there is always a conflict. The thing, my interest may not be of interest to another person. My interest may not be the duty for another person. So there is always a conflict. So that is why Arjuna was asking, what is eternally the duty of everyone and what is eternally good for everyone? Is there something like that? So that this problem can be completely solved. What is eternally good and what is eternally the duty of everyone? Very interestingly, before Krishna answers, 7 minutes, and so you have to be fully absorbed, you have to just pay attention. Then you can really see that it is not a sect, it is not a cult, it is not a faith, it's actually a science. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, there are 3 problems why we don't understand what is eternally good for each one of us and what is eternally the duty of everyone. The first thing is we identify ourselves as food seeker. That is the very basic bottom level understanding. Everybody wants to eat food. Food hunger is there. Belly papi pet ke liye karna padta hai bolte hain log. And they do. They work hard. The only necessity that we understand of survival or of living in this world is food, hunger. Look at this tree. I mean, the tree, naturally the roots go towards the water and the leaves go towards the sun. The tree doesn't know anything else. By instinct it goes. You cut it, you break one branch, it doesn't complain. There is nothing. Instinctively it goes. It seeks food. Very low level of development of consciousness. Many human beings are in that level. They think our goal of life is somehow or other to eat and live. But then the next problem which comes is there is a self-identity based on the bodily survival. When you are trying to eat and live, you see that there are some people who are more powerful, who are trying to exploit you. Or there are some who are less powerful, so you want to exploit them. And you want to, show your power over them. So this tendency is called fight or flight. Depending upon the size, depending upon the position, depending upon the power of the other person, I decide in life whether I should fight or whether I should flight. So this is slightly more evolved consciousness where you understand that there are other people around you and there is a struggle for existence. So this is again based on self-identity as bodily survival based on the body. And the third thing which Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita is there is another thing which is called self-identity as mental activity. Somehow or other मेरे दिमाग में ये आ गया कि मुझे ये करना ही है, कुछ भी हो जाए, वो powerful हो, वो खाना मिले ना मिले, कुछ भी हो. Now my mind has told I have to do it, I'll do it. Some people in Hindi they say रात दिन एक कर देंगे हम, कुछ भी हो जाए, because now mind is dictating. The mind is so powerful, it overcomes the bodily needs. And a person goes for it. No, I have to do it now. The problem with all of this is what we don't realize. Prabhupada's this quote, he says, but you are not this body. Why are you wasting time in that way? This is the crux actually. You're not this body. But we are so dependent, so absorbed in this identity. मैं यही तो हूँ. What is the verse in Bhagavad Gita which says 2.17? Anybody remembers? अविनाशी तो तद विद्धि येन सर्वम इदं ततं विनाशम अव्ययस्यास्य न कश्चित् कर्तुम् अर्हति. Avinasi tu tad vidhi. The thing which is all pervading, because of which the body has some meaning, is avinasi, is indestructible. But our identity, our whole understanding, the driving force in life is I am this body and I have to preserve, I have to take care of this body. Prabhupada is saying, why are you are not this body, why are you wasting time in that? So then what people do, there is no mental peace, there is no happiness, and we are deeply rooted in this bodily concept of life, so people take to religion, thinking that we will get some answer here. Santi milega mandir aane se. Kuch to santi kahin to milna chahiye, hum itna struggle kar liya. So they come. So they come to Hindu religion, and some so-called Hindu Sanatani dharmas, they bash the Islamic people. The Islamophobia, the Islamic things, and the Islamic phobia, in the name of Islamic phobia, they are prospering and flourishing in countries saying that we are all good people. Still the fight happens. And there is Christianity, of course, the Christian people and the Islam people, they also fight. There are crusades, there are so many fights which have been there in the history. And if all these fights are going on, people who are looking for peace, when they come, they become atheist. Best thing. भगवान भगवान सब बेकार है, मन का खेल है, इधर मारते हैं, उधर फाइट है, इधर है. And today somebody is Hindu, he is known as Ram, Ram, Ram. Tomorrow he changes, he becomes Rahim. And if you call him Ram, he says, hey, no more Ram, I am Rahim. Ram क्या बोल रहा है? But the person is still the same. Just because the name has changed, just because he is embracing another religion, the person has not changed. But he doesn't identify himself with Ram anymore, and he says, I am Rahim. So, Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, oh, 2 minutes. What is temporary cannot give us permanent happiness. This is the point that we have to understand. If we want to have that eternal happiness, which science is promising, that science is telling that reducing miseries, increasing the comfort, and living happily ever after, it is not possible in temporary. This whole material world is temporary, including our body, family, relations, designation. You can't get happiness. It's not possible. And the happiness that we are looking is permanent. How will we get it? It's not possible. Srila Prabhupada in one of his lectures says this is the powerful thing. It is real science. Because this human life is meant for understanding what I am. Aham Brahmasmi, I am not this body, I am spirit soul. This is the real science. And this human life is meant for understanding this. No other form of life can understand this. I have got nothing to do with this body. And everything in this material world is temporary. It cannot give us permanent happiness. Yehi sansparsa jab hoga dukkha yeno evate. Adi antavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Don't get carried away. All the cause of all problems and miseries is because of this identification of our body, that I am this body. And if this is the real science, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes, the Lord himself comes in this material world to exhibit, to demonstrate how to live that life. Because Krishna gives Bhagavad Gita, as per the scholars, in 45 minutes. He said, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayasami ma sucha. Arjuna understood. Arjuna was a devotee. He was an associate of the Lord. He could understand. People like us, Bhagavad Gita, we have been asking, please read. Is it easy to understand? 18 chapters, 700 slokas. 1 hour they finished the conversation. Not easy. Then came Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam was 7 days and 7 nights. Parikshit heard with rapt attention. He could achieve the perfection of life. But still, 7 days, 7 nights. Not enough. Krishna himself comes as the Lord, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Whole life he demonstrates how to live this, the science of, this Krishna consciousness. So the real science is, this chanting of the holy name of the Lord. This really boils down. If you understand, if you get this, understanding that you're not this body, your spirit soul is not enough. Because we are part and parcel of the Lord. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mame vamso jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana mana shashtani indriyani prakritisthani kasat. So what should we do? If we have to follow this science, what we have to do? There is one qualification which is needed. Eager, enthusiastic. मन मना मत कुछ नहीं. Come down. इतना ऊपर मत जाओ, थोड़ा नीचे से. ये साइंस को हमको अगर प्रैक्टिस करना है तो क्या करना पड़ेगा? एक ही क्वालिफिकेशन चाहिए. हम सबके पास मुंह है. माउथ इज देयर. ठीक है, माउथ को खोलना है. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. This is the science by which we can experience the eternal happiness which we have been looking for. Eternal happiness. Actually the people, they don't have conviction. Hare Krishna mantra mein ho jayega. I'll take 2 more minutes, or Pujari, Prabhu, 2 more minutes. Imagine if somebody says, I'll not chant Hare Krishna mantra, I'll invent another mantra. Jimmy, 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 Tommy, 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 Tommy. Jimmy, Tommy, Jimmy, Tommy, 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 Jimmy, Tommy, Jimmy. How is it any different? Because people don't know what is the meaning of this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is actually we are asking the energy of the Lord. We are asking, O Krishna, O Rama, please engage me in your service. That's the meaning. So we chant 1728 times, 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra every day. Imagine you go to a person, मैं सेवा करना चाहता हूँ आपका, भगवत प्रभु आपका बहुत प्रॉब्लम है ना, सब सॉल्व करूँगा, मैं ही करूँगा आपका सेवा. भगवत प्रभु is not busy. I am busy. Busy. Again 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Every day I will go and ask, कुछ तो दो, कुछ सेवा दे. Say, okay Baba, you do something. कुछ तो करना है इसको, do some सेवा. Moment we engage in service, the Lord reveals. Then He'll say, no, ये ग्लास को यहाँ नहीं, इस तरफ रखना है. उधर क्यों रखा? Then you understand how to serve the Lord. And the more we understand, the more we serve the Lord, the happiness again increases. This is the real science. It's not a cult, it's not a faith, it's not some kind of religious thing that we are practicing. And Prabhupada and our scriptures are telling, forget all your identity. Forget that, you are from India, you are from America, you are from this or that, you are a spirit soul. Come together and participate in Sankirtan. The real difficulty in Kali Yuga is to come together and chant the names of the Lord or hear His glories. Very difficult. Because we have so many problems with that person, with this place, with that place. That is why you can see, there is a Sankirtan which is happening somewhere in one of the ISKCON temples. People from all over the world, all nationalities, all differences, coming together and participating and enjoying, experiencing the real happiness. This happiness that we are looking for, which science promises, can be obtained in Krishna consciousness. I'll conclude with this quote from Prabhupada, where Prabhupada says, it's an arrival lecture, June 29th, 1972. It's a science. Just like science is open for everyone, science is not sectarian, so it is also a science. This science of God, science of soul, everyone is welcome to understand. That's the sum and substance of today's this thing. If you get this, that you are not practicing something which is a faith which can change, it's not some kind of a religion which is subject to change, it is a science. It's the science of God, the science of soul. Everyone is welcome to understand. I'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki, Jhulan Utsav Mahamotsav ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.